Hello and welcome. You're listening to Desynced Nerds, a Nintendo Switch podcast. I changed it, but then I still said hello and welcome. Anyway, this is episode 27, airing on Monday, the 9th of April. This episode is brought to you by our schedule change, Monday nights, 6:30 PST, 9:30 EST, 2:30 a.m. in the UK for the Brits. We're your hosts. I'm Colin. He's Devon, bringing you all the latest news and hot topics from around the internet. This week we have Spyro news, Terraria news, and Switch is getting its second streaming app, but don't get too excited just yet. But first, Devon, what's your 2 weeks in gaming been like since we skipped last week?
So the prior week, I played a lot of Axiom Verge. I think I'm like halfway through that game. And then this most recent week, I've done nothing because it's the first week of the term and it's scary.
When does that ever stop to, though?
I mean, I have actual like milestones I have to hit this term in order to not get dropped from my program, so I'm being That's a good fair. Student, yeah. So I've not done a lot except for that. I think that game, those 2 games of PUBG that we just played is the most gaming I've done in the last 7 days, so.
We totally didn't play PUBG. That's not a Nintendo game. Come on, man.
True. We should have played Splatoon.
Those 2 games of Splatoon, yeah. Realistic Splatoon. That's what we just played.
There's a lot more swearing in the realistic Splatoon we just played. Lots of references to my mother. Anyway, what did you play this last 2 weeks?
I played Moving mostly, and when I found some downtime, I played Kirby Star Allies.
Wait.
And I beat it.
So what I'm hearing is you played a lot of Tetris?
So we paid for movers, so the movers played Tetris. I just made the blocks for them.
Fair enough.
And then when they offloaded, I told them where to put it. That's the right
Somehow
way to do still moving. Very exhausting, even with movers. But whatever. Something about having 2 fish tanks, that being like my smallest.
Yeah, that was called a mistake. I don't know why you would do that. I don't know who would tell you to do that.
Probably you. I don't know.
Not me. Fake.
That was definitely you.
Yeah, is that your week?
That's it. That's all I got.
Right.
Hey, listen.
I like it. All right, so on to the news. First thing on the docket, Square Enix announces a new development studio.
So it's got a focus on AAA, and you're really excited about this.
No. I mean, the only reason I would be if Tokyo RPG Factory hadn't been the last time this happened. But that wasn't AAA focused so much as that was just going to be a new team.
Yeah,
so I mean,
RPG.
I have tempered excitement for it. How about that?
So to me, it seems like it's just like a way to categorize their groups. Like it doesn't really seem like it's changing anything. Like what is a AAA focused dev studio even do at Square Enix? Like the whole company is AAA focused. Like I don't actually know what this means. I'm curious to see if they move any of their big names into this and have a Final Fantasy game or a Dragon Quest game or whatever built by these people.
Well, I know when they made Tokyo RPG Factory, the idea was to go back to the old school style and just make completely new stuff. So maybe this is completely new AAA stuff?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, except what they've been doing this whole time is that, other than the staples. Like, that's why it confuses me, is because this versus Square Enix 6 months ago, before Tokyo RPG Factory, it was just Square Enix. This was just Square Enix. So I don't really understand. Like, it seems like a way to segment who makes what for consumers' benefits. Like, I know what I'm getting into if I buy a Tokyo RPG Factory game. I'm getting garbage. And I know that if I get, something from whoever the Dragon Quest team is, whatever they call themselves, I know that I'm getting a Dragon Quest-like game. So
I'll tell you what it is. Gary has been working there for 20 years, and Gary isn't moving up, and they feel kind of bad for him. So they just gave him his own arm. So now they're like, Gary, you take, your 10 dudes, you go over there. That's what's going on here.
That seems cool.
So solved.
Donezo.
Next up, we have interview with Super Limited Games.
So there's a full link in the show notes. I'm going to just hit a couple of things that I actually care about. I honestly mostly wanted to take this. No, we'll get there. My bad. So Super Limited Games is a company that gives indie games physical releases in limited quantities. We've seen a couple of these. This is another one whose name I can't think of right now. But for Super Limited Games specifically, they released 5,000 copies of the game, and I think that they've decided that's all they're going to sell of that one. And it was Human Fall Flat. Yeah, it's Human Fall Flat was their first one. And so they also did the cool thing where they indexed every game. So you can buy one of these games, and it's number 1,372, or whatever number it happens to be. I think that's kind of cool.
That's wicked cool.
And the interview had two kind of important takeaways. They're developing a system to get around scalpers, so they don't want to just like put everything up on Amazon, and the one guy who's willing to pay a bunch of money for 8 of them is going to get 8 of them and scalp them, because like Human Fall Flat is already being sold for ridiculous amounts, they said. So they're trying to avoid that. And they also want to do only exclusive content. They will never, anybody that they sign to sell games for is never going to have content sold elsewhere. They're never going to have another physical packaging through a different company. I think that's kind of lame, but also it makes it like more of a cool collector's item. So I don't know. I kind of see it. But yeah, what do you think of this? Like limited runs of games, physicals for indies that wasn't get them. What do you take out of this article or this news?
I love it. I love it insofar, like I don't know what this anti-scalping thing that they're trying to do is, but the first time I go to buy one of these and I can't, or I can for a quadruple the price, I'm gonna be real salt. I don't know. I'd love to know what they consider anti-scalping. Like what is that? What are they doing there?
No, they didn't actually specify. They just said methods to get games into the hands of fans and not scalpers, I think was the exact wording. So
I legit don't understand how you prevent scalpers, but I don't know.
Yo, same.
I like it. I love the idea. I just I don't want to pay 4 times what it's supposed to be for it.
I mean, so the limited run aspect, because the limited run aspect is going to make it a scalper's paradise, regardless of what they do.
That's exactly my point. Like, I wouldn't be too excited, I guess, if they weren't talking about making it non-scalpable, if that's a word. For some of these games, I won't care about. Like, I own Human Fall Flat, and I wasn't really compelled to buy the physical. But if it were something like Enter the Gungeon had a physical, I'd be pretty salty if I couldn't buy that physical because it got scalped to crap.
Yeah, I think that's actually one that has a physical announced, but I'm not 100%. I might have to look into that. But yeah, that's limited run games.
Moving on. There were a lot of Splatoon-related interviews.
There were 3.
Wow.
That's a lot. I guess a 3 in 2 weeks. Anyway, so yeah, as per usual, links in the show notes, highlights, blah, blah, blah. So they had one interview with GameSpot, one with Game Informer, and one as a YouTube video, but they're actually almost all the same article. I found a frog. So there was one particular quote that I really, really loved from the head producer, and he said that people were bringing in receipts for large quantities of like slime, like gack or whatever the kids are calling it these days, to expense through him. Because so they were taking these big chunks of slime and throwing them in the audio recording room for the splat noises.
Nice.
That was my favorite thing ever. But on a more serious note, he also talked about their shift in philosophy from the Splatoon main campaign, and how it was the original Splatoon main campaign was mostly just start here, get to the end of the level, and that's all they care about. And then in the X-Pack, they want it to be much more varied, much more interesting. It's, this level you've got a roller, and you've got or not a roller, but the hamster ball. I think it's just called hamster ball. You have one of the hamster balls, and you have to run across the map and kill dudes. And so they're trying to make it more of a game and less of a, like, hit the checkbox kind of thing. He also talked about, again, the expansion. They want to make weapons modifiable inside the level. So you're going to get a dually, but the dually is also, you can make it shoot farther but less accurately, or closer and it's more accurate, or whatever. So they're trying to make it, again, more of a game. It's more of a campaign this time around, and less of a, like, the Splatoon 2 main campaign was garbage first time. Like, you can at me. That's just life. And then for my final piece, he also said that they had a very intentional, like, making them kind of gross. They're cute in their final forms, and they're cute in the in both ends of the final form. But if you ever find pictures of him transforming, they're just weird looking, and giving them that sort of like edgy outer crust bit was something that they were really focused on. And he goes on to talk about in one of the interviews how this is something that Nintendo tries to do, where everything looks light and fluffy, but there's always kind of that deeper, darker bit to whatever they're talking about. I think that's kind of a cool philosophy.
Agreed, totally. But anyway, moving on. PAX East was a thing, and Nintendo had a big showing.
So there's a footage of lots of new games. I found a few. I think I have them listed. Yeah, Wolfenstein, Dark Souls, and Co-op something. It was Co-op something. I don't know. There's another video in the show notes. If you care, you can go find them. So the games on offer were Dark Souls Remastered, Crash Bandicoot the Trilogy, Wolfenstein 2, Travis Strikes Again, and most of the games from the recent Indie Showcase. But most importantly, Sushi Striker. That was the other video that I was forgetting. There's a Sushi Striker multiplayer video. That doesn't excite you? You can hear the excitement in his voice.
No, not at all. That didn't interest me at all.
I still just don't understand. They're still pushing that game hard, and I just don't.
Devin, everybody knows about Sushi Striker, dude. Come on, it's one of the bigger games.
I actually think that somebody's like nephew or little brother or something developed that game, and
what it was Gary from Square Enix. That was his last game. That's the game that got him his own developing arm at Square Enix.
The Sushi Striker. I mean, it's pretty much the best game ever. Like Game of the Year 2019.
Clearly. That's why he's getting his own arm.
He didn't have an arm before?
That's rude. You can't just call somebody out like that. Anyway, we're gonna move on now. Wolfenstein 2 has motion controls a la the Doom update and Splatoon.
Yeah, so that's that. I still haven't used the Doom motion controls, so I don't actually know. They specifically call out Doom as being almost the exact same system because, go figure, they're both developed by Bethesda. So, yeah. That's a thing.
Is it Bethesda or is it id Software? I'm pretty sure it's id.
Did I just make it dumb?
Yeah, I think so.
Save me, let's move on.
Anyway, we're gonna keep going. Also made by Bethesda. Dragon Quest 11 Roundup. Go for it.
Awesome.
I wonder if Gary worked on this at all.
I hate you so much. So there's this whole weird politics situation with Dragon Quest XI, and I don't really know what to say about it. They're not translating the 3DS version, and the Switch version is a long ways out, despite the fact that it's an Unreal Engine game. The Switch supports Unreal Engine out of the box. Why is this not just a drag and drop? I don't understand. They said that the Unreal Engine version of the game needs to be updated, I think he said. It needs to be changed, but the PS4 version is Unreal Engine. So again, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't hold water. So
that was an update that came to the Xbox and PS4 last year. Like, it's a really recent update, and the Switch just hasn't had it yet because the Switch is too new. So like right now, like it's operating on the one previous to the one that Dragon Quest XI is on, and that's why it's coming to the mainline consoles first. That's what I heard. Spawnwave had some bit on it. It's an Unreal update that's not on Switch yet, and so they kind of have to wait for that. Or they like tear it down and rebuild it, which I think is what they're actually doing.
Yeah, he said that they're doing active development on it. So
yeah.
And then I also found a fun interview with the series creator Yuji Horii, and it's linked in the show notes. And he talks about the roots of the series. He also points out that the DQ11 is not going to have any microtransactions and no DLC. And this is despite the fact he explicitly calls out that the development of this game is very expensive and they're kind of worried about making their money back on it. But they're not going to do these extra monetary things because they want to return to the pureness that the original games had. And that shows through in other stuff beyond just the microtransactions and the DLC. But again,
I find that mildly offensive. There's nothing inherently wrong with DLC when DLC is actually meant to come afterwards. When it's like on disc locked DLC, that is not okay. But DLC after the fact, that's fine. What's wrong with that?
That everybody's angry about microtransactions in DLC, so score those brownie points.
I guess, yeah.
The pureness of the experience, Colin.
Yeah, anyway, let's move on. In other news, in other Dragon Quest news specifically, we have some more info about builders.
Yeah, so it was another huge interview, and they addressed the one particular streaking point that killed us both: losing your character and your city progress when you move to the next chapter. The producer, oh god, I didn't practice this one.
Noriyoshi Fujimoto.
Okay, that was actually not that bad. Anyway, he states that they didn't want to trivialize building in the new cities. They didn't want you to move to a new city and then just go back to Cantlin and harvest everything that you would have needed. And yeah, so what do you does that state your opinion?
Are you ready for this rant?
Oh god. Yes.
It's actually not so much a rant. I feel like it's inherently bad to like not give your player, like, take agency away from your players. I would never do that, because once I've built something, I want to leave it alone. But I could absolutely see that being a thing.
Well, no, not like using your old buildings, but once you get to the end of Cantlin, you can make the best stuff. You can make like a, God, I can't remember the name of it, the best sledgehammer that would farm minerals for you, and so you could then get the best minerals. Which I
don't see why that is worse than making me re-experience and relearn and regain content.
Well, the content is slightly different. Like, there's some shifting there. And maybe it's a filler thing. I mean, it's a JRPG, so it's got to be at least 80 hours. Like, everybody knows that.
It feels like they were trying to solve a problem that didn't actually exist. That's what I think. I get it, because they didn't want to, they didn't want people to be able to cheese their 40-hour game, because then it wouldn't be a JRPG. But like, that's just not something I feel like was necessary. It definitely, like, I won't go back and play it, because it's too much. Nobody, especially myself, enjoys losing progress, feeling like you're losing progress, even if you aren't.
I mean, just be better.
I've been trying for 28 years. But anyway, are you done with that? I'm done with that.
Yeah, we can move on.
Yay, some news on third-party docs. What do we got?
Nintendo says don't do that. Just don't. Oh, sorry, there's more. So we think we have a theory on this. We think that the USB power supply is not actually compliant with the standard, despite it being a USB power supply. I don't fully follow everything that's going on. There's a very, very, very detailed technical breakdown in the show notes. Basically, what it sounds like to me, or what I took from it, is that the Switch is pulling a amount of power that the power supplies can't actually do, and it's causing the power supplies to overload somehow, and then push too much or too little or something. I don't know. Again, it was outside of my realm of expertise, so that's there if you care.
From what I understood, it's during the NX days, there was no standard for USB-C, but it was clear that USB-C was next up to be the big thing. So they picked what they thought was going to be the standard, and it was totally not the standard. So now theirs is unique to everything else on the market.
That's dumb.
That's basically what I took from it too. Again, sourcing that from Spawnwave. He put it into dummy format, and that's what I took away from his dummy format.
I want him to be wrong, because that's so critically stupid that it could actually be Nintendo. Okay, never mind. Moving on.
Moving on. Rocketleague got a sizable patch.
Yeah, so this is cool. It got tournaments. It got new crates. Also, it has crates. Did you know the game had crates?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, totally has crates. You get like antenna and hats and all kinds of stuff.
I knew there was... Okay, no, now that you say that, yeah, I knew that. Because I knew that there was like cosmetics and stuff, whatever. Anyway, they also put in an awesome new feature that I'm being 100% serious here, needs to go into literally every game ever. So you can pick a down-resed 60 FPS version, which is what was the default before, or you can bump the res up to 1080p or 720p Dr. Handheld, and it caps the frame rate at 30 FPS. And as I said in all caps here, why does everyone not do this? Holy crap, I want it. This is a comparison photo in the news article, which again, show notes. I just don't... Why is this not standard? Why does everybody not do this? Why was this not a thing on Zelda?
I guess because it's hard?
Yeah, probably. I don't care.
Probably not everything is coded as well as maybe some of these games are coded.
Yeah, I mean, Rocketleague, which is kind of exciting that... But yeah, following up with my question, should I be picking this up for Switch? Do you even have it for Switch, or do you have it for PC?
I have it for both. Yes. The answer
Oh.
to that is yes. I mean, we both played it for PC and we both kind of liked it, but it takes a lot of time to be any kind of less bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have it on Switch. You want to play this on Switch? Play this on Switch. Get it. We'll play that right after our PUBG games and right before our Splatoon games. How about that?
I mean, realistically, the reason that we didn't play Splatoon today was because I didn't want to fight with like getting sound hooked up and trying to mess with headphones instead of the game. Like, I just didn't want to screw with that. So
I don't have another first party dock for my monitor, so that's why I didn't bother either. Also, I would have had to leave the room, and I'm comfortable.
yeah, who gets up? Who does that? Like, it's a portable console. Who takes it places?
I've already burned 3,000 calories today. I don't need to burn anymore. Anyway, moving along. Spyro was confirmed, but then confirmed not to come to Switch. But then it was leaked that it is coming to Switch.
Yeah, this makes me sad.
Yeah.
So
Me too.
Activision confirmed that is a thing. There was actually a great tease. They sent out purple eggs that opened up, and there was a message in them that said something that was vaguely Spyro. And so they sent these out right around April 1st. One news article, or one organization that I know of, got theirs on the 2nd. So they were pretty sure it was an April Fool's joke. And then eventually, yeah, they did confirm it. And then when they confirmed it, they did an announcement trailer, which did not mention the Switch. And then somebody finally explicitly asked them, IGN, I mentioned that. IGN explicitly asks them, and they refuse to comment. And then it was briefly in the Nintendo UK store, which, you know, kind of everybody took that as confirmed. And then a very small contingent of people went, but the Nintendo store is not run by Nintendo. And I'm very sad. So it's run by a third-party retailer called The Hut Group, and they run a general retail website, and the description that was on the Nintendo store was a copy and paste from their PS4 and Xbox One versions. So we're pretty sure that this was just the Hut Group screwing up. I don't actually think this is confirmed. I don't know why they wouldn't do this, given like the Switch is doing gangbusters, but I don't know.
I gotta wonder if it's a Dragon Quest XI situation again.
Just like their engine is on the wrong version.
It's hard to know because, like, I read an article today that was like everything that's on the Switch does better than expected because the Switch is so new and starved for games essentially. Whereas stuff going to PS4 and Xbox will do about or less than expected. So yeah, I mean, if you're making a game right now, Switch is the platform to be on. So there's got to be a reason that they don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there are still people that expect it to be just a fad that kind of goes away, and I don't know. I feel like we're kind of at the point where that stops being a thing that people say, but clearly not.
I mean, it's definitely past that point. We've already beat the Wii U for lifetime sales, and like it's comparable numbers of the Wii and the PS4. Like, I don't. Yeah, that's a stupid, very stupid opinion to have if people actually have it. But you know, to each their own.
Throw that shit.
Sony still thinks you can't make mobile work. So
Yeah. Oh, that was still such a great quote. That makes me so happy.
So no Spyro for you. Anyway, moving on. A new streaming app. What's this new streaming app? And tell me it's Netflix.
It's definitely not Netflix, nor is it
Sad
Crunchyroll, nor is it HBO Go. And at this point, what's even left? Like, who even has a streaming app that anybody cares about?
Drama Fever for all those K-dramas.
I actually think that that's probably in higher demand than the one that this actually is.
You take that back. Because they're going to have the English version of Super. You take that back.
So, if that didn't clue you in, it's Funimation. They do I think everything on Toonami is Funimation. I don't actually know what they put out. Like, let's just
Lots of stuff.
let's just quickly Google this. I mean, but the point is it's like there were so many good companies that could have done this, but no, it's Funimation.
Oh, that new Card Captor's on there. That's big.
Exactly. It's Card Captors. I'm still trying to find this. I'm on the Wikipedia page, and I don't actually have a list of the stuff that they put out because
My Hero Academia, which is actually a big one.
Yeah.
That's Funimation.
that I've heard a lot about, and I don't like anime, so that says a lot.
My Hero is really good.
Dragon Ball Z, of course, that we knew.
It's not. Yeah, it's Super, but yeah.
Also, Dragon
One
Ball
Piece
Z.
is a big one. Attack on Titan is a big one. Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, Cowboy Bebop, really?
Yeah, but Cowboy Bebop's like old. Like AOT is at least recurring. I mean, Super I guess is done too now, but soon it's coming. The English version is coming, and it'll probably come to Funimation.
So this is kind of a big
there's
deal if you
that.
actually like anime.
Very specific ones, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's no Crunchyroll, but to this I just say why? Why is Netflix still not here? Obviously, this is not impossible to do. This is a doable thing. It doesn't seem like Nintendo's the one that's blocking this because Nintendo keeps letting other people do streaming apps. So why do we still not have a Netflix streaming app? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Tell me,
I'm
Colin.
also confused.
Need to know. But yeah, so despite the fact that we were 2 weeks here, this is a surprisingly small amount of news. It was not a good couple of weeks, so I'm actually going to say thank you for missing a week because those have been really short shows. But with that...
Yeah, Yahoo. All right, on to the game announcements. The one on the docket? Well, okay, so the first thing up we have is Terraria coming soon still.
So we have Terraria. So this is something that I was discussing with Tristan, and I probably should have gotten more of his thoughts or wrote down his thoughts. I'm curious. This is one of those games that people mod, all the way through, and it basically becomes a game that is not recognizable to the original. And so I'm curious if this is actually going to be any good. I think Tristan has more hours in Terraria than he does any other single game, and I don't actually know if he's going to pick it up. So that kind of says a lot.
We were talking to him the other day, and he was like, "Yeah, when I leave on only XYZ mod, it's not terrible." I'm like, wow, that's a ringing endorsement for this game.
Exactly. Yeah. It just doesn't. Just not a lot there, and I think that's kind of the problem. Oops, that was a mistake. There we go.
Is that no longer coming? Did you just decide that?
Yeah, I've gotten rid of that next game.
Next up, Night War Chaser. Depending on whether or not Devon wants it to come out.
I'm trying to really stealthily get the release date because I got sidetracked clearly in the middle of writing this. But yeah, so Night War Chaser is that really, really, really beautiful JRPG. JRPG? All right.
I don't remember this one actually.
So when this first got announced, you saw a video of it and you were like, I'm 100% picking that up. But clearly you don't remember. Yeah, it's a JRPG. And it is
that
gorgeous.
Is that one or is that a different one that I'm thinking of? Oh, Battle Chasers, Night War. You put the words in the wrong order and it threw me through a loop. Yeah. I am 100% going to get this.
Battle Chasers Night War. Yeah, that is important to note. Typing names is hard. I was clearly not fully awake when I was doing this.
I totally didn't recognize it, but I recognized enough of the words that I kind of think I knew what you meant. Yeah, this game looks fantastic. This game looks really good, and I'm very excited for this.
So yeah, that got a release date, and it is May 15th. I found that, so that's exciting. I think it's got a physical too.
Oh yeah, totally, 100%.
Is it already on the Amazon pre-order list?
It will be by the end of the show.
Fair enough.
I have 4 on there. Did I tell you that?
You did not.
I have a problem.
Wait,
I got Ys 8, Wolfenstein, Smash Brothers, and Dark Souls.
Oh, Dark Souls. I should have known all 4 of those. I'm ashamed. But yeah, so that's that. You want to tell me about the next one, or should I intro that while you're pre-ordering?
No, it's cool. I'll just the next one is Wargroove. I'm definitely buying Wargroove as well. Take it away, Devon.
So we got an announcement that it is coming in the second half of 2018, which, considering they were originally talking about 2017, is very sad, but also it's not that far away, so I guess we'll live. I don't know. I just want this game. I want there to be a good tactics RPG or tactics game rather. And that other one, Wargroove was not Wargroove. What's the name of the other one? Tiny Metal.
Tiny Metal?
Yeah, Tiny Metal was.
Well, there's something Knights Regalia just came out, or it's coming out soon, and I don't have any desire to play that one either. It doesn't look. I don't know. It doesn't look appealing to me.
You were so weird about the way a game looks.
About what I like and what I don't like. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it feels bad, and that's honestly the bigger thing. It looks. Yeah, I don't know. It just looks clunky.
That doesn't. You're not even saying words that have meaning. Anyway,
I'm just making words up. Speaking of making words up, Cat Quest is getting a physical release on the 6th of July.
And I really just put this in here to ask you if you were going to buy it, and I probably should have just done that privately, but now it's part of the show.
Absolutely not. I still haven't played this, and I still don't really. I don't know.
You still don't care?
No, still don't care.
It's Diablo, but with cats on your Switch.
Yeah, I'm not a big cat dude. Cat fan.
Okay, it's Diablo, but on your Switch.
I'll wait for the real Diablo on my Switch. Remember when they flickered that thing on and off? That means it's coming, so I'll wait for the real Diablo. Even though I hate console Diablo.
That was also a rant that was a lot of fun to listen to. Oh.
You say that, but I don't believe you.
No, it's definitely not at all true. So, I'm just gonna keep throwing those words together in a way that gets you to like that game. So,
Wrong.
but yeah, I'm so
That one
enjoying.
needed to be a little bit louder, I think.
Okay, we are still learning. We've made We've made quite a few shifts to the show. We will actually be doing the previously released games, but this week it was particularly garbage, and I didn't want to talk about anything, so we ended up cutting that. But I think our future plan is to drop segments entirely, so just maybe do like a second feed or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out once we get to the point where we really want to deep dive into a game. And yeah, so that's we've made some show changes. Obviously, the new time is another big one, so if you ever wanted to watch us live but couldn't because we recorded whenever we got around to it, we now record at 6:30 PST, as we said at the top of the show.
9:30 EST.
Yeah, but that's not important. Nobody cares about EST.
Oh, snap. Sorry, my bad.
Also 2:30 UK, because we do actually get a sizable number of UK listeners. So.
No, I recognize the reason it was in there, but it was kind of silly to shout that out.
Yeah. All right. If you're an insomniac and you live in the UK, definitely watch us record. Yeah, we will have the show notes open, or the chat room open. So I feel like that one's a little quiet too.
Yeah, I think so too.
We'll have to go through and normalize those sounds. Anyway, so that's about it for the show. It's, again, a very small news week. If you want to email the show, where we would read that email. Oh no, I missed one. Question of the time period. I should be reading my headings. Our question of the time period was, how much do you let reviews influence your decisions? And we had a number of options that you can see at bit.ly/dsnpoll25. The options we allow for was 100% it decides it for me. I won't play anything that my reviewer doesn't like. I have a minimum review score, and anything under that gets discarded. 3 is I let it guide my decision but not decide it. 4 is I completely ignore my reviews. And 5 is I listen to word of mouth, not reviews. So yeah, let us know what you think. If you want to get in more than just a single vote, you can check us out at the Discord, which I will shout out in just a second. I really just want to use more of these transitions. That's what I'm doing here. That one's a little
There
loud.
you go. Yeah, that's way better.
Okay. So if you want to email the show, you can do so at desyncednerds@gmail.com. If you prefer Twitter, you can tweet at us. We are at Desynced Nerds, or either of us individually. I'm at Kulana, Kulanah, and he is at DSN Colin, Colin. If you want to support the show and be like Door to Door Geek, who is super awesome in supporting us, you can do so at patreon.com/desyncednerds. You're a little late. If you want to support the show but you can't do so monetarily, you can rate and review us on iTunes or Stitcher. And if you want to catch us next, this is not updated. Next Monday, we are on twitch.tv/desyncednerds. The VODs will be up on YouTube afterwards. That channel is Desynced Nerds. And then, as I said above, we have a nice Discord at bit.ly/dsn Discord, all lowercase. And if you want to get more of your voice heard about the voting, you can do so there. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Peace.